Let's take a look at what's going on with Dogecoin today, guys. All right, so Dogecoin is still running like crazy. We had three targets that I was looking at: .036, .350, and .442. Those were the next levels that I was looking at going to the upside. We came up, hit the first target. Yesterday, we came up and hit the second target. We got really close to hitting that third target, but we didn't quite get there. I'm still kind of curious if we're still going to keep moving to the upside, though. As you see we're on the daily time frame of tradingview.com of Dogecoin right now, and as you can see, we're just going absolutely parabolic. Bunch of green candles on Dogecoin right now, daily time frame. Ever since we broke out of this area right here that we were sitting in for a while, this little falling wedge pattern broke out to the upside, hit all three of those targets, and then I was saying once we break this level right here, once we break the top, then the next spots that I'll be looking at are these three resistance lines, and I get those levels from the previous resistances. So if we zoom out, I'm on the daily time frame, we have resistance right here in the past, we have resistance right here in the past, and then we have a resistance right here in the past where we topped out, got resistance, came down, topped out, got resistance, came down, topped out, got resistance, came down. We also have another one though, like sitting at like what, 73 cents and 56 cents. There's another resistance right here, and then the top right here at around 73 cents. I have no idea how far it's gonna go up. I was planning, because I've been investing in Dogecoin in all this area. I just wanted it to get to a certain number for what all the amount that I have worth, and then I might take profits on it, and that would be somewhere up here. If we could just get a little bit higher than that third target, or even just around that third target, I think I could I could justify closing my Dogecoin position, most of it. I'm still saving some in my ledger, my hardware wallet, just in case we did go to $1 or something like that. But right now, all the stuff that I've invested here, I think in this area might be an area for me to take some profits. But we haven't gotten there yet, and we're still, I mean, it looks like we got close, and it looks like we're kind of pulling back a little bit. So let's go ahead and, like, on the daily time frame, it looks great. Check it out, and this is another example. We had declining volume, candles got bigger, the volume candles got bigger, and then now look at these volume candles. They're absolutely nuts. And so that's what we want to look. These are kind of, this is an example of the volume that we want to see, or the uptrending volume that we want to see after a breakout of both of them, because we broke out of the falling wedge, but we also broke that top like I was talking about. Excuse me. Once we broke that top, look at the candles that we were getting. I mean, this was higher than we've been, and people are still putting money in. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're done quite yet. I still think that we have some, I think, in my opinion, I'm thinking that we have some room to go up. Check out the monthly time frame. I'm on the monthly right now of Dogecoin. Let me move these out of the way a little bit. Something like that. Check out the monthly time frame though. We're also breaking this top on the bodies right here. Let's see, the bodies are sitting at around .34. .34, what was it? .341 approximately. Looks like this candle is clearly breaking out of this area too. I'm kind of curious though, this is kind of a bullish thing, is how many more days do we have? We have 18 days and 12 hours for us to close this monthly candle right here. I want to see where we close that candle. If we close above this resistance right here, where these bodies, we came up, got resistance right here, and then pushed back to the downside. I mean, we spiked all the way up to all the way up here. So so that's why I'm saying, like, okay, so we came up, we got the monthly, went up to here, came down to here, went all the way up real quick, and then came all the way down, and then kind of came back in this area. So what I'm curious though is, if we close this monthly candle above this resistance or above these bodies right here, I'm wondering how far we're going to go, because that seems like it's just another leg to the upside, even if we do something like that. Or I don't know, we're going to have to wait and see though. But a lot of the times when we break resistances, they'll turn into support. So we just broke this resistance and we broke this resistance. I'm kind of curious if those two spots now are going to become support as opposed to resistance, because we're on top of them. We broke through the first one right here, going to the upside, broke through the second one right here, going to the downside, to the upside. I'm kind of wondering if when we come back down, are we going to find support on these levels and get a bounce back to the upside, or maybe something like that. It does seem like we might need to cool off right now, but in these parabolic moves, you never know. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's take a look at like the shorter term, or I'm on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at the 4 hour time frame. So we'll take a look at the trends that we're kind of setting up right now. We have support, giving me one trend line, and then we have support, giving me another trend line. So let's go ahead and draw those out. Something like this. We have this first support, something like that, giving me that uptrend, and then we have this uptrend, something like this. We can use these trend lines to give us a clue whether we're still on an uptrend, or if we're breaking through it and we might be coming down to either test these previous resistances that might give us some support now, or we might be looking at this trend line that has been giving us some support all in this area. I wonder if we have to come back down and test that. I'm not saying that we're going down right now, because we're still on this uptrend. Once we break that though, then we can start looking at those targets going to the downside. And I'm not sure how far it'll go down, not sure how far it'll go up, but these are kind of some of the levels that I'm looking at. We came through, hit that first target, hit that second target. It all happened really, really fast. I thought we were going to come up and hit the third target, and I was going to have to make a decision whether I wanted to stay in Dogecoin or take profits. But yeah, we got really close, but we didn't quite get there. So yeah, these are the things that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the 4 hour time frame, and we have this uptrend right here, uptrend right here. As long as we're staying on those uptrends, then I think we should be okay. If we start breaking them, then that's when we're going to have to get a little more skeptical and start looking at targets going to the downside. And the other thing we can do is set up the Fibonacci retracement chart once we do think it's topping out. So let's go ahead, and this is a perfect example of like when we should use the Fibonacci retracement chart. And it's kind of, let's go to the daily time frame. We can get a better idea of when this actual run started. You can kind of argue that it started right here. You could also kind of argue that it started down here. Let's go ahead and, just for fun, I don't know if we're topping out yet, but let's just for fun set up a Fibonacci retracement chart just to show you, give you an idea of what I mean. So it looks like we came up, and then it looks like we're having trouble right here. If we start trending down, if we start breaking trend lines, then we can get more confident on this. So we can set up a Fibonacci retracement chart, or the Fibonacci tool, get the Fibonacci tool, drag from the bottom of the run to the top of the run, and then that gives us levels to watch as we kind of retrace going to the downside. I like watching the 38% level and the 50% level. Those are my favorite levels to watch. So it's possible, like let's say you sold right now and then put limit orders on these spots going to the downside. I don't know how far it would go down, but and I don't even know if it's going to go down, but this is what we would do if we do think that it's topping out and that the run is kind of needs to cool off and maybe retrace down. 38% level is great, 50% level is great. You never know how far it could go down. The last Fibonacci retracement, when it went all the way up, we went up and then went all the way back down to where the bottom was. So it could go many different places, but these are the spots. Like, let's say, okay, so we're watching that trend line on the 4 hour, right? Let's say this one breaks going to the downside. Like, let's say we come over here, we start having trouble, and then we break it, we get a big red candle right there. Then we can start saying, okay, well, maybe the 36%, maybe the 50%, maybe the 61%. You can dollar cost average on the way to the downside. If you wanted to put more money into Doge, should I say. But yeah. So those are just kind of some of the things I'm looking at. Like I said, I'm not sure if we're topping out yet, so I'm not really sure about the Fibonacci retracement chart yet. Let's go ahead and delete that. I still want it to go, I'm hoping that it goes a little bit higher. I just want it to come up to somewhere right here, and then I'm going to probably start taking profits like I was saying. But yeah, it's looking great right now, especially if you go to like the daily time frame. Like the 4 hour, it looks like we're getting a couple red candles. The 1 hour, same thing. I think we're getting some like decent, like, I don't know, having a little bit of trouble in this area. I mean, we've been just going nuts. Like, we're just coming up, getting a little bit of consolidation, and then moving up, consolidation, moving up, consolidation, moving up, consolidation, moving up. This is kind of, looks like it's kind of cooling off, and maybe have to retest this resistance, maybe retest this trend line, and then we can kind of go from there. But I'm, like I said, I'm still kind of hoping that we get a bounce on one of these levels and start pushing back to the upside. We can't go up forever, so getting like a little pullback isn't necessarily a bad thing. It could just mean that we're getting ready to move to the next leg to the upside. And like I was saying, on that monthly time frame, that looks, I think in general, that looks pretty good. When we kind of zoom out right here, we're above this resistance right here on the monthly time frame. I want to see us close this monthly candle above .336. If we can do that, I think we might be just getting started. Maybe we can come back up to the all-time highs, and or even go past that. Maybe we can finally get to $1 like we've been hoping for a long time. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's take a look at what's going on with some of the other coins, and or even just some of the charts. So let's take a look at Dogecoin to Bitcoin. I talk about this. I've been talking about this almost every video now. This chart is, I'm on the daily time frame. This chart basically is Dogecoin to Bitcoin. So that means that if this chart is going down, it's good for Bitcoin. If this chart is going up, then it's good for Dogecoin. Dogecoin has been outperforming Bitcoin in this whole area right here, and we've been watching resistances as they come. So like back in when I was started first making these videos, not first making, but like when I started again, should I say, not like a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months, like a month or two ago maybe, I was watching resistance right here, resistance right here, and resistance right here, giving me this trend line. We had this trend line, something like this, and once we broke out of this resistance right here and broke to the upside, ever since then we've been getting very solid moves to the upside. When we break resistance on these charts, the Dogecoin to Bitcoin, Ethereum to Bitcoin, whatever, then that's a really good sign for the altcoin, because we have the resistance, we break out, and then now it's starting to shoot up compared to Bitcoin. So all that Bitcoin money is starting to flow into Dogecoin. So we were looking at this one, we broke that resistance, going to the upside. Then I started looking at this resistance. We had resistance, resistance, resistance. Same thing there. I was saying if we can break this line right here, that's going to be good for Dogecoin. Once we broke this resistance, boom, green candles all the way up to the next one. The next one that I was looking at, let me get rid of those. The next one that I was looking at, let's draw this one back real quick, something like that. The next one I was looking at is this one right, where was it? Was it this one? Or was it this one? Yeah, well, anyways, we had resistance right here. It was this one. Resistance right here giving me this other resistance trend line. We broke through that one as well. Boom, still heading up, not slowing down. And then the next one that I was looking at is this little resistance, this one little Lone Ranger right here. Resistance giving me this trend line like that. Once we broke through that, another giant green candle. So basically we're beating all the resistances, the previous resistances, and the next spot that I'd be kind of looking at is maybe this one up here, and then maybe this one over here. If we can continue going this high, then I mean, we might be looking at like 7, that like the previous top on Dogecoin right now. As you saw with the Dogecoin chart, once we break out of these resistance zones, then we start looking at the next ones, and we're pretty much just breaking through them right now. So I think the next spot that I'm kind of looking at is up here. It looks like we have, now that we broke out of this resistance, it looks like we still have some room to go up. So it kind of looks good for, I mean, it's looking really good for Dogecoin as far as breaking out of these resistances, these previous resistances, something like that. So yeah, I think that looks really good for Dogecoin in general, especially compared to Bitcoin. And if you look at the percentages of what's going on, like, let me make this a little bit bigger. So I mean, Dogecoin's up. Dogecoin's up like 6.6%. Compared to like everything else. Everything else is like kind of red, or a lot of other coins are red. I have like Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, ICP, Dot, Litecoin, SHIB, Atom, Dot, Uniswap, Bitcoin. Everything else is kind of red compared to Dogecoin right now. Even Bitcoin is down 2%, while Dogecoin is still up like 6%. So I mean, I don't know. Luckily, I make videos on Dogecoin, and Dogecoin has been working out pretty good right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple other charts, though. I want to take a look at Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance, and at least those two. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Where this is the target that we've been looking at, maybe like 124,000, somewhere around there on Bitcoin, because we had this big huge cup, and then we have a handle, something like that, broke the handle, going to the upside, broke that resistance. We had resistance, giving me this trend line right here, the resistance trend line. Once we break that trend line going to the upside, then we could target from the top to the bottom of the cup. So we get the tops of the cup. We have the top and the top. We drag it. We do a trend line from those 2 points. Then we can drag from the bottom of the cup to the top of the cup, something like that. Drag this to the breakout, and then that gives us a target of approximately 124,183 approximately. It depends on where you drag from the bottom to the top of this cup. Sometimes I've been getting like 123,000, 124,000, 122,000. Like I said, it really just depends on where, because some spots are higher and some spots are lower on this cup, so it make like different targets. But in general, now that we've broken out of this little channel pattern going to the upside, this is the pattern that I'm looking at, and this is the target that I'm kind of looking at as well. We did the 3 things that I was kind of hoping that we would do to get us more confident on that target, which was number 1, break that resistance trend line. Number 2, break that previous top that we had, get into all-time highs. And then the other thing that I wanted to do was break this this trend line, whatever you want to call it, previous top trend line. We have this top and we had this top, giving us this trend line right here. We broke out of that. Those are the 3 things that I wanted us to do before I got more confident on this target up here. We did those things. So now I don't see any reason why we can't come up to this target. It might not perform exactly. I mean, we might not go exactly there. It might fall a little short or something. Like I said, it kind of depends on how you target that pattern. But this is kind of what I'm kind of looking at this is what I'm looking at right now as far as a target on Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin's doing great, if it's hitting all-time highs and hitting crazy numbers like that, then all the rest of the coins are going to follow. So that's good. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance, though. I kind of wanted to check this out real quick, too, because we've also been looking at this. So this chart basically shows us if it's an altcoin season or if it's Bitcoin season. And all in this area, it's been pretty much Bitcoin season. So we have, if you look at Dogecoin, we had that huge run up. So it would have been better to be in Doge, but in general, Bitcoin has been outperforming all the altcoins in this whole area. I mean, we're not in a bubble, but it's definitely just pushing to the upside. We actually broke out of this resistance right here. We had resistance, something like that. What we had resistance, giving me that trend line like that. It kind of looked like a rising wedge pattern, which is a bearish pattern, meaning that Once we break, usually it's like a channel pattern that gets tighter and tighter and tighter going to the upside, and then it usually breaks to the downside. But we did break to the upside. It came back in it, but now we're back on top above that resistance right here. So my point is if this chart is pushing, if this chart starts breaking to the downside, then that's when you're even going to get more altcoin season, and Dogecoin could perform even better. It has a better chance of even performing better because Bitcoin's not performing as good as the altcoins basically. But right now it looks like Bitcoin's kind of breaking to the upside, which means that Bitcoin should be outperforming everything. But like I was saying, when you look at the Dogecoin to Bitcoin chart, Dogecoin is just kind of wrecking Bitcoin at this point, for right now anyways. And it's done it before in a lot of, it's done it before. Look at these big huge movements that we've got before. There was another one that was like something like this and then went down. I probably need to get another chart. I need to replace that Dogecoin to Bitcoin chart, or look at it in a different, because I'm on Coinbase right now. Coinbase hadn't had it. Coinbase started like trading Dogecoin kind of late, but my point is that Dogecoin has made big, huge runs compared to Bitcoin in the past, and it looks like we're kind of doing that right now. Let's see how far this can go up. Like I said, we're right here. We broke like these other resistances. In my opinion, I kind of think we have some room to go up still. We still have these two other resistances now that we've broke the other ones. That we haven't broke this one technically. I think we're kind of chilling on this area right here, but we have been breaking them, and once we break them, then we look at the next one that's going to the upside, and the next one going to the upside looks like it's somewhere up here. So as long as this chart is going up, that's really good for Dogecoin. Once it starts kind of pulling back and getting red candles, then we can say, okay, maybe the run's over, like we did over here. We had a big, huge run, started trending down, popped up a little bit, but started trending down, and just started getting lower highs and then lower lows. So we're trending down when that happens. If we're getting higher highs, higher lows, then that means that we're trending up. So, that's the other thing to kind of watch out for, is the lows and the highs. So absolutely parabolic on Dogecoin to Bitcoin, looking great. What else do we got? I've been looking at Ethereum as well. Let's take a look at that real quick. It looks like, let's go to this chart, a little bit cleaner. We came up, hit the first target that I was talking about, because we have 3 targets on Ethereum. That's fine. That can do that. We have 3 targets on Ethereum. We have this little triangle pattern, broke that to the upside. Ever since then, we've been doing good. Sorry. Let me get situated a little better. My camera, my microphone. So yeah, ever since then, we've been doing good. We have 3 targets on Ethereum though. We have this triangle pattern, broke out to the upside. What we do in that case is drag from the bottom to the top of that triangle, drag that to the breakout, and that gives us that target of around 3,278, excuse me. Then so we hit that target. We can kind of delete, let's delete that one because we already kind of, let's just move it out of the way. We're kind of done with that pattern and that target. Let's actually just delete it. We hit that target. Let's see if we could hit the next 2 now. So the next one that I was looking at is this channel pattern. We have resistance, resistance, support, support, giving me this big, huge channel. We broke out of that as well, going to the upside. What I want to do in that situation is drag from the bottom to the top of that channel, drag that to that breakout somewhere right here. And then that gives me the second target of around 3,886. So that's the second target. Let's see if we can come up there. The next target that I'd be looking at is 4,852, and I get that from this cup and handle pattern. We have this cup, and then we have the handle pattern, which is the channel pattern after the cup, going to the downside. Once we break that channel pattern going to the upside, then same thing with Bitcoin. We drag from the bottom to the top, something like that. It really depends on where you target on this one. There's like some different areas. This one's like kind of low, this one's a little higher. I like doing it somewhere in the middle. Right here in the middle is a little bit higher. So it's going to really depend. Your target's really going to depend on when you drag it. But drag from the top to the bottom, drag that to the breakout of the channel pattern, and that gives us a target of around 4,852 approximately. Like I said, I'm getting different targets when I drag from the top to the bottom because it depends on where you drag from. But those are the next two targets that I'm looking at. Same with Bitcoin. We have this resistance, we have this top right here, and this top right here, these two resistances. We need to break the previous top right here. So we did the three on Bitcoin. We broke this resistance, we broke the top, and then we broke this line right here. Those are the things that we need to do on Ethereum now. We broke the resistance, going to the upside. Next thing we want to do is break the previous top right here, just something like that, like a horizontal line, and then we have the two tops that give us the trend line that is kind of going to the upside, in my opinion. Once we do that, then we can get more confident on this target. I know it's kind of like you might have trouble in here, but those are the next two spots that I'm looking at basically, and those are the kind of the things that we have to do to get there. Break this resistance, which we already did, break the previous top, which we haven't done yet, and then break this previous resistance right there. And this target lines up pretty much perfectly with the previous top right here. If we could break out of that top, then you saw what happened with Dogecoin. Once we broke out of that top, then maybe we can start going into orbit and start looking for another planet. You know what I mean? We're in this little planet right here. Let's see if we could actually break this top and start traveling into outer space. Something like that. Go to the moon, as they say. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at on Ethereum. And Ethereum, I'm kind of hoping around like 6,000, 6.5K or something. If we can get to those levels, I might take some profits and try to pay off my car. Just letting you guys know. But yeah, same with Dogecoin. I've been trading in this area right here, and I'm hoping that we could come up to this level and I can make like a big, huge down payment on my car. I actually got a Tesla, guys. Let me know what you guys think about Teslas. It's been amazing so far, but yeah, side note, you know what I mean? That's, if we get up to here, then I want to put like a big, like, trying to start paying it off. But, and then I could be like, hey, Dogecoin, help pay for this car. But so yeah, back to Dogecoin. I think it's looking really good, and I'm not kind of giving up on it yet. I know we're getting a little bit of resistance, and it's possible that it just starts coming down again. I mean, right now, technically, we're in an uptrend. We have another uptrend, something like this. It does look like we broke that other uptrend. I'm on the 1 hour time frame right now. Technically, we are kind of trending down. We have resistance. We could technically set up, instead of doing that uptrend, we can look at a downtrend, something like this. So we are kind of pushing to the downside on the 1 hour time frame. We have resistance, giving us this downtrend. If we can retest these previous resistances, get support on them, break this resistance trend line going back to the upside, then we can start getting more confident on coming back to that third target, and or even going higher than we expected, maybe. We'll have to wait and see, though. It looks like a lot of other cryptos are kind of pulling back right now. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let's take a look at the total crypto market cap real quick. This is also another chart that's kind of interesting to watch, because to do technical analysis on in general, it gives you an idea of, this is all the money in crypto. So we had a falling channel, something like that, a broadening falling channel. We had resistance, support. Basically giving us those two trend lines, and we're bouncing in between those two trend lines. We broke that resistance going to the upside. What I was saying in one of my videos from this little line right here is we could drag from the bottom to the top of that channel somewhere in the middle. I like dragging in the middle of these patterns a lot of times. We could drag that to the breakout, and that gives us a target around $3 trillion. And we pretty much came up and hit that target. So we're gonna have to wait and see what develops here in this short time period. Maybe we'll get consolidation and just kind of go sideways, and then we can form a bull flag because we have this big huge pull right here. If we could just get consolidation and then break to the upside, we might be looking at something like that. So let's go ahead and just draw, let's just say that was the top, and then we have the bottom of the little flag, something like that. Let's just, for argument's sake. And then what we could do is drag from the bottom of the pole to the top of the pole. If we broke the resistance, if we broke this top trend line right here, we could drag that to the breakout, and then we'd be looking at a target of approximately 3.66 trillion. I think we're already at all-time highs right now. I mean, let's go ahead and remove these because we already kind of hit that target. But yeah, we basically came up and hit the previous top right here. We came up, hit that top. Looks like we're getting pullback right now. What I would be cool to see, like I was just talking about, and you could also argue that this is a cup and handle as well, now that I just kind of looked at it. So if we drag from, we get the top of that, we get the top right here, give us a trend line, then that gives us that cup. Then we can drag from the top to the bottom of the cup, somewhere in the middle, drag this to the breakout at the channel pattern, and then that gives us a target of around $4.05 trillion. So this, I mean, now that we broke this resistance, we haven't really broken the top quite yet. I mean, it looks like we're kind of struggling with breaking that top. But if we could break the top, same thing with the other charts. We have to break the resistance. We did that. We have to break the two top trend lines. This one happens to be before the previous top, but we broke out of that. And then we want to break this previous top and this previous top as well. Once we do that, then it'll be like Dogecoin, where we're kind of getting out of this little planet and we have to go find a new one, or at least something like that. I don't know. I was just kind of thinking about that the other day. Like that analogy of like, because it seems like it's almost like gravity. When you get to like resistances and stuff like that, then you kind of start sticking to them. Like let's go back over here. I'm kind of curious if these these previous resistances are going to come into play, and then we're going to get support on them. It's going to be interesting to see if that happens. I'm hoping that's what happens. I'm hoping we come down, find support, get a bounce, break that resistance trend line, and start heading back to the upside. We'll wait and see, though. We do have this trend line right here. If we start breaking that, then we might be a little less confident on these targets up here. I am kind of holding out, but let's see what happens. Hopefully we continue to bounce to the upside. Like I was saying, on Bitcoin, it looks like we still have some room to go to the upside according to that one target, the cup and handle target. And then on Dogecoin to Bitcoin, it looks like we have some room to go up on this chart as well. I mean, we have to close this daily candle above this resistance, but we did break the resistance. So the next one, there's one or two right here, but the next big one is this one up here, which means that if we still have some room from the bottom to the top over here to go to the upside, in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that, though. I think that about does it. We've talked about mostly everything that we need to talk about today. Yeah, but go to tradingview.com if you're not looking at charts on tradingview.com yet. Set up a watch list. Go find all your favorite cryptos. You can click the plus button right here, add to watch list. Find a crypto or stock or whatever you want to look at. Then you can hit the plus button, add it to your watch list. That way, you at the beginning of the day or whenever you want, you come in here and see what's performing and what's not performing. And then the other charts that I like to look at are the altcoins compared to Bitcoin. So like Doge, BTC, Solana, SOL, BTC, to see how that's performing against Bitcoin, Ethereum to Bitcoin, ETH, BTC, and yeah, add those to your watch list. Then you can kind of see what is performing and what's not performing. So yeah, those are kind of some of the things that I'm looking at. Let's go back to Dogecoin and kind of do a little, put some end caps on it. I think let's go to like the 1 hour time frame. You could watch the 1 hour. Honestly, I don't really like watching the 1 hour when we're getting these crazy parabolic moves, because it's kind of deceiving. Like right now, it looks like we're getting some red candles and we're going to the downside. I wonder if we're going down, but I don't really like to look at the 1 hour when we're pushing hard like this, because it's better to look, to kind of zoom out and see what's going on. We're getting like really big green candles right now. Let's go ahead and delete this. Let's just clean this up. That's why I've been trying to keep this chart pretty clean lately. Like I was saying, we're on the daily time frame. We're getting big green candles. We're getting huge volume spikes. And what we want to kind of see is, I mean, and as far as like a top, we're kind of looking for a blow off the top, or what do they call it? I think something like that, where we blow the top. So we get a big, huge run, and then we get a wick to the upside. It kind of looks like it is right now, but like where we go up and then we kind of come back down really fast. So we might come up to these levels really quick and then come back down. You never know. But I think it looks really good. Getting nice green candles, going to the upside, and then getting nice green volume candles. That volume is picking up. So let's see how far we can go. And like I was saying, if we can close this monthly candle above these other candles, we're on the monthly time frame. If we can, let's get rid of our watch list, get a bigger picture. If we can stay above this previous resistance where the bodies were, like let's say we can close this candle right here and then get another candle. We still have 18 days to do that though. So we still have a long time for us to actually finish this, but we need to finish this candle above this previous resistance right here, sitting at around 0.338. If we do that, then it seems like we might even be able to go higher. And this might even be a small target to where we might even be coming to maybe up here. And these levels up here, these next resistances that I was looking at is around 0.570 and around 0.73. This was that previous all-time high. If we could break out of that, that would be absolutely insane. But like I was saying, on the monthly time frame, we want to stay above this area right here. We want to close this candle above these ones over here. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking on Dogecoin. Looks pretty good so far. I'm still hoping that we can kind of go up a little bit higher. Actually, a lot higher. That'd be great. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. We came up, hit the first two targets. Let's see if we could hit that third target. We were super, super close yesterday. Let me know what your guys' targets are down below when you guys are thinking about taking out profits, if you are, or how, I don't know, what's your price target, if you have one, or if you're just in it for the long haul and you're more waiting for time. That's how I am with Bitcoin. I'm probably not, I don't think I'll take out my Bitcoin for another like 20 years or something like that. I think that's my strategy with Bitcoin more than anything. With Dogecoin, it's a little more speculative. We get these huge pumps up and then we start kind of coming down. I'm kind of curious how far Dogecoin will go all the way, or how high Dogecoin will actually go. Let me know what you guys are thinking though. If you guys like the video, hit the thumbs up. And if you like these videos, hit subscribe. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers. That'd be great if you could subscribe. And if you like, if you're interested in checking out the last video, check it out right here. If you're new to trading, check out this playlist right here. It helped get you started. If you guys like the video, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.